I was teaching business law in Egerton University. And so whenever we would come back to the office, we would share a few tips on, how teaching is good, how we are making a little bit more money than what the law firm is giving us. And then, that time, one of those 2 days, I remember well, I just sat him and said, by the way, my brother, he was my brother then, why don't we think of teaching law itself and not business law? Right, interesting. Then when we looked around, there were no law schools, there were no law faculties. So then I told him we can do something. Introduce me, that's what I told him. Kabarak doesn't know me, just introduce me to somebody in Kabarak. And so he said, but if I introduce you, you will bring competition to me. That was on a light note, that's what he said. But he said, okay, this is what we will do. I am teaching in the School of Business. I can talk to somebody who can talk to it was not a school then. All of them were faculties. So I can introduce you to the Faculty of Education so that we can see whether there can be a law course we can also teach there. And then, so that is how we landed in the Faculty of Education. I was introduced to Dr. Kiptionyi then, a very nice motherly lady. She's now prof, isn't it? Yes, prof. Oh, she's still the dean. Wow, thank you. I wish she would be back. She would have been here to hear the story so that she can corroborate. You guys are lawyers. There would be corroboration. So I was introduced to her, and then I said, okay, look, madam, we can also introduce some perspectives of law to your students. And she said, yeah, we can have a department that teaches a bit of law in the school. In the faculty. So, here I am. This is 2009. We are part-timers. Then I go back to the office after that introduction, and I start talking to my friend. I tell him, look, if we want to teach law, we first of all must have a curriculum. And we did not know how a law curriculum looks like then. We had studied out of the country. We were used to those programs, the master's programs then. But we borrowed a curriculum from, which was not very nicely done from, it was actually a torn part of it, of the curriculum of the University of Nairobi. And so we looked at it, and we started now imagining, how do we make our curriculum to suit a faculty of law, if at all Kabarak can accept. We debated, by the way, and we said, if we go to study a faculty of law in Egerton, there's a lot of politics. This is a public university. They will not allow us. But if we talk nicely to a private university, they can agree, because they are likely to make money. And we will tell them, to have a faculty of law, you will make more money than the other faculties. That was the enticing thing, by the way. So we sat, we made that curriculum, which had some law codes, K-law, Kabarak law. I think you now get used to that. Yes, that's how the K-law started. We were like, we don't want to teach Egerton University law, UON law. It is Kabarak law. And then, when we started having the curriculum, I remember one of the contentious things were, one, how do you set standards? Two, how do you also have students? Three, where do you get the materials from? Those were very critical issues. Then, the other fununu tulikuwa tumepata ni kwamba, if you don't have a PhD, you're not supposed to head a law school. So you can understand. That time I had done only a master's. Okay. And fast forward, we made the curriculum. We talked to Dr. Kiption. She presented it to the Senate and said, this department wants to start a faculty of law. And I said, hey, where? Mwache your story. Do you know how expensive it is to start a law school? We told them, no, the students will bring money. Nyinyi tuachilie tu tuanze. All right? And for sure, they gave us permission. I remember now they actually agreed to employ us on full time. Now I niko na job. So I created for myself a job. And I was given, my letter of appointment was dated 4th of January, 2010. Right? And I was the first one to be employed in that faculty of law. 4th of January, 2010. Then, thank you. Then, having been employed, then I said, okay, I can't start a faculty alone. Just give me some resources, and I only need 1 or 2 people. And they said, but your brother is teaching in the the faculty of business. So I said, make him also, full-time. So Getanda gets employed also. Right. Around 5th of January. I was taken through interview. He was not. Okay. Then Ogeto gets also employed. Right? So how many of us start teaching the faculty of law? 3 of us start teaching the faculty of law. How many courses do we teach? By the way, that time we made an advertisement, and I remember 9 students applied, and then 6 turned up. Yes, 6 turned up, and I could remember them by name. Hey, you guys were in the 2nd cohort, isn't it? Yes, Arnold was in the 2nd cohort. So we had 6. That was, and these students reported on the 8th of January. Yes, they reported on the 8th of January. We were employed on 4th. Tuko hapo tunabuild. Now the problem is, we have been employed, there are no books. So I remember having borrowed a book on criminal law, a very old one, from a friend of mine who was teaching in Kisii University. Okay, so I borrowed, I photocopied, and bound, and I was armed to come and teach law. All right, and Getanda also photocopied some materials from somewhere and some place, and each of us now were living on photocopies to teach law students. Okay. Then we contacted the CLE, and the CLE indicated, look, before we say anything in terms of accreditation, let us know how many students you have. Let us know whether you have materials. Let us also know whether you have a faculty head. And a faculty head must have what? A PhD. So I said, but we are learned, why are you doubting our degrees? We have come from more serious universities than those ones of Kenya. We argued with Prof. Kulundu. He was the CLE head. He said, okay, fine, think about it, but ensure you source somebody. So then the second hurdle was, how do we get books? And they insisted, for each of the courses you are going to teach, there has to be 5 books minimum, right? For every 5 students, 5 books also. So there was that math to be calculated. Then when we presented the budget, we presented the budget to the management. They said, fungeni your faculty. We can make more money through where? The other faculties. You guys are asking for money. We already have employed you. You want us to buy. Hojin was costing about 450 then. I don't know how much it costs. original on the law of contract. When we mentioned about Farmstone, Cheshire, and who? That one, Cheshire, Fairfoot, and Farmstone. On the law of contract, it was 3,500 then. They said, kitabu moja. And your students are only 6 who have paid, I don't know how much fees then they paid. They told us, mufunge your faculty. We told them, please, please. Then, you know what? In a series, we understood that Professor Kulundu was very firm. And we said, mkubwa si ukuje. Just come to the ground. And he agreed. He came to the ground around April. They came 3 of them. So we went to the Senate. The Senate was there. Prof. Kulundu told the faculty, the management, he told them, you have even made a mistake to admit students before we. If you want to be sure, there is even one other university we are about to close. And of course, there was one which was to be closed. I will tell you about it. So, they quickly agreed to buy some books, actually for each of the courses. And then we said, look, we don't want you to buy so many of them. Buy for first year only, right? How many courses are we going to teach? We gave them the number and then the semesters and said, just buy only those. After all, we have 6 students. So those 6 students, 5 core books, one core book, and the others you can buy 1 or 2. And that's how we built a very small library at the corner of a law school. Everybody in this university was saying, look at these ones. You know, everybody was like, where did this come from? Have you seen in the Bible? Or have you heard in the Bible where people will be asking, where have they come from? In the book of Revelation, isn't it? So, we built a small library. Come the second semester, there was an admission of 37 students. From 6 to 37. And we started, but there was a hitch. Okay? Of the 37, 3 left, so we had 34. Then when the first examination was sat for, they know what happened. Okay? They know what happened. Constitutional law 1, constitutional law 2, and was it criminal law? I don't want to say. Okay? We presented the results to Senate, and the Senate asked, Yani, you people, we have admitted students, and you are chasing them away by being very strict in marking. We told them, no, we are training professionals who have to represent the university out there. We don't want quacks. We don't want... So let's agree. That's a very interesting... Those are what they call X-Files. But I remember in that Senate, there was moderation, of course, of the results. And the students were fairly comfortable. But the third semester, there was also an admission, but now it rose to 60. I think 64. Yeah. Was it 65? Yes. You can see. 6, 34, 65. And this time around, we went to the Senate, chest out, and said, tunataka vitabu. Kwani hamuoni? This is the only faculty that is growing at the fastest rate. And then by that time, we had made 1 or 2 calls, and of course, Prof had agreed to come. I was the coordinator. I was told you can't be dean. You are only coordinating, midwifing a faculty. I said, okay, that's fine. Then, there was also the other hitch, the salary. Kalikuwa hivi. Unfortunately, I didn't have access to Mzee Moi, so that I could, so that he could also see me at the back, okay, as he did to Prof. But we thank God that from that humble beginning, this is where we are. I cannot imagine that thought of itself, thank you, was that which would birth a law school that is internationally recognized. And so, we thank God for this far he has brought us. When you are practicing out there, remember you are an ambassador. Remember, you carry the name of Kabarak University. There was a struggle about whether we would include the biblical courses in the school, in the faculty. That's why even the coding, you would see, it was slightly different, isn't it? Yes, it was different. There was a struggle, but all those things, that's interesting history. It is in my speech, all right? So carry out the name. Remember where you have come from. Remember what you stand for. One, you have gone through a law school which cherishes integrity. Now, integrity is key in our practice, in our profession. Of course, people will say, for example, they always make noise. They say, oh, you know, you judges eat money, you have done what. As long as you know that the only person who rightly recognizes that you have either eaten that money or you have not eaten is God, walk with your head high. It does not matter what they say. The truth is, there is only one righteous judge who will judge what we have done. That's point number one. So then point number two, from those humble beginnings, create for yourself a niche. There is always room at the top. Create for yourself a niche, even in the practice. Whatever you find to do in your practice, give it your best. If a client instructs you and gives you a brief which you are not sure about, of course, don't show that you don't show him or her that you don't know, right? Just tell him, give me more instructions. By the way, what else is missing? Okay, what else is missing? And tell them now, give me a few minutes, I will tell you what you have also missed. By that time, you will go and consult a bit from one or two of your seniors whom you trust. Hey, by the way, there's a brief. This is a contract that involves an airline. Have you done international airspace law? The guy says, yes. How do we construct something like this? They whisper to you something, then you come back and tell him this thing to Nashinda, right? You don't show, all right? But you must go and research afterwards. Don't also just go and use mediocre things and throw pleadings there and expect that you will succeed. Because the problem with that is, and please give proper advice, don't ever promise your client that you will win a case. Did I make a point? Yes. Don't ever promise your client that you will win a case and you are 100% sure you will. Because your client is giving you their version of the story. Right? Even the Bible says in Proverbs that the first witness always presents a good case until cross-examination comes. Have you read that in the Bible? Have you? So you see, the reality is your client gives you what they want you to hear first to suit their story. So if you quickly jump into it and say, that's a walkover, then when the other evidence will come and throw your case out, that's when you will start looking for excuses of how to convince your client that you were right, but somebody else was wrong. And that is why then you will say, si unaona jaji alionwa. Si ukuona vile alismile kwa classmate yake. And there will be an excuse after another, right? But the problem with that also is the client will doubt your advice in future. Then they will also actually go telling others how poor you are in your practice. So just tell them, yes, you have a case, which I think is good, but we will give it our best shot, right? And let's, trust that all will be good. That's point number 2. Point number 3, okay? Establish networks. Establish networks. Don't forget your friends. By the way, this is at the university level, is where you create lasting friendships. Hao wengine wa after work, after tumetoka hapa, ni wa, you know them, okay? Some are opportunists. Some are out there curious to know who you are, and then they walk away, right? Here is where you spend 4 years learning how somebody behaves, knowing what they do, what they don't like, and what they like. And here is where you can build a trusted relationship, including even, establishing a law firm of all this group, and you all have one purpose. When I was out there for my master's in the US, we were taken in Columbus City in Ohio, where a law firm, and you can Google it, it was Morris, Sieter, and Pierce. All right? Very interesting names. It had 187 lawyers. Of those, 50 were partners. The rest were employees, right? They had a whole building like KICC, right? That's a law firm, right? Now imagine if you are 50 of you and you don't trust one another and you are partners. Will that law firm survive? It cannot. But where do you find that relationship which you can trust? It is from your peers, whom you see every day. You know who you anakata kona saa ingine, who you does not, right? And this one can be trusted. So build relationships, make networks, and then, feel free to share your ideas. Otherwise, I want to thank you for having invited me. I know the rest you will find it in a speech. I just as an idea, right? And it has come this far. I am happy. I didn't imagine that in life I would see many of you lawyers from only a small thought that we can start a faculty. And we thank the university for having given us that opportunity to train you, okay? So thank you so much. God bless you. I was only coming to see you and say hi.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Before you go, I do not know whether we have a question. Is there anyone who has a question for the good judge? No, in court, he's the one who asks. Now today we have the chance to ask him. Any questions? When I'm done looking at the alumni, look at the current students. Pressure. Questions?
You need to ask why I am thin and yet Arnold, whom I thought is fat. That time he was thin. Maybe amekula clients' money. That's on a light note.
Sawa. So you have a question? Yes, please.
My question is very simple. When you started, one yourself first, then your friend and the other, what did you have in mind? Do you see something like this happening, or something different altogether, or it was a day at a time? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I believe in excellence. That's one of my driving inspirations, self-driven in life. When I was out there for further studies in the US, I remember, and we were taken through that very special training, and were shown how my then, that's my alma mater, how it had grown. Because we were the first LLM students in that university. Just Google it, Ohio Northern University, right? No, the second. I was the second lot. And we were 8 only from the entire world, right? I really wished that when I come back, I would see something grow. I did not believe in it, of course, at first, particularly when, there was back and forth with the management here. We tell them, give us resources. They say, no, we are not making profit. Actually, that was the thing. Lazima tutengeneze nini? More money than what the students are coming in. We told them, the beginnings can be painful. You can make losses right now, but in the next 1 or 2 years, you will actually triple the profits, as long as you establish the best, all right? So that first semester, I didn't see us making it. But when we got the second admission of 37, I started believing. That is how I started believing, because that's why I told you that we went confidently to the management and told them, simunaona. And they said, for sure, this one is a faculty that we can make more money in than. And you remember, by the way, the first fees that was charged, ilikuwa kidogo. Viner, isn't it? It was 74,000. Viner was the second lot. Sorry? It was per semester, all right? Then what happened in the following year? 130. When they saw that things were coming, hey, things showed up. And of course, that's how we started. That's when I started believing, when the second lot came. Otherwise, the first one, I actually also doubted. Thank you.
Wow. A second question. That's very inspiring. A second question.
Okay, so I'm calling Smiriga, third-year student. And one thing that I know drives people really is passion. And through your story, you started this school as a way of making money. So at what point did it turn to passion? When did it become part of you now? In that, because I'm trying to imagine sitting around 6 students with no books. I think it needs it's more than money really, a love for money that drives that kind of strength. So at what point did it turn into passion for them?
Okay. That's a hard question, but it's a good one. In 2011, I went to withdraw some money from a bank just in town here, not so much money. So there was a long queue. And that was Kenya Commercial Bank, Flamingo, the Flamingo branch. There was a long queue, and I was like, where do I find? That time they did not have those, what do you call them? Those queuing tickets. Yes, the tickets. So it used to be, lazima muweke laini. So, queuing at the back, I find somebody from behind the counter. That is one of the cashiers. Comes out. I didn't see at first that they were coming out, but they went in, then they came. And I was at the back. He holds my hand and says, Mwalimu kuja. I'm like, Mwalimu kuja. So I'm fearing, but anyway, since ni mwalimu, mwalimu is, it's a more comforting word. So he takes me from that side all the way to the counter and says, unajua ulitufunza business law. we weki laini. How do you think I felt? I actually didn't believe it, isn't it? I'm like, so you mean I taught you business law? He says, in fact, and he told me this, in fact, you taught us so well that I want to be a lawyer. So I'm making money so that I can enroll for law. I told him, by the way, we have started a faculty of law in Kabarak. So I was also doing marketing. They need to pay me commission. Then, that's when I realized that, combat teaching is good after all. You know, you get satisfaction from the persons who appreciate what you have done in their lives. And that's why even, of course, even in your practice, just give your client your best. If they will appreciate, they will pray for you, by the way. They will say, yule wakili ambaye alinisaidia, Mungu amsaidia. So that is how it turned out from money to now passion. From then on, I have always wished to teach. And actually, another occasion, I went to Stanbic Bank, and as a lady gets me coffee and tells me, kaa huko. And she's like, do you remember you taught us business law? I'm like, wapi? You know, I was in, they used to be so many and they were divided into 3 groups. So I was in group C of this and this year. So I thought, oh, now I remember. What was your name? She said a name which didn't click so well, but at least it was.
All right. I hear there are 2 more questions. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Justice Nyagaka, for the nice introduction and the story that you've given us. It's so inspiring. My name is Nelly Tiso, and I have one question. What is that one thing that when you are starting law school that you expected to do, or was your expectation that you will do, but you never did it, and as you see the progress that you have done in law school, is there something that you wanted law school to do and they have not done it? And if so, could you please tell us what is it?
What I expected the law school to do and they didn't do it.
It's not yet been done.
It has not yet been done.
Yeah, but you had it in your mind then.
I wish I knew. I wish I knew the we call it staff development policy of the institution. Staff development policy. Prof knows, I think what I'm talking about. You know what made me leave Kabarak? It was not even this one. I had the desire to go for my PhD studies. And I did not want to take those studies in Kenya. And I wished to go. I had a young family. I had some 2 young girls who were just about to start school then. So I wished to go out and study, but on pay, paid study leave. And Kabarak would not hear any of that. So I don't know whether now you have that policy, because we pressed for that. I remember there was one of the lecturers, a lady lecturer, who is, I think now she's married in Europe, she was known as Sylvia Waliaula, isn't it? Yes, those of us who were there, and she was my good friend. Some actually people thought she was my... All right, it's all right. All right, so we used to push, we actually asked the management to release, to give us a paid study leave. And remember that time, if those who were there, Vener and Janet and the rest, and Arnold, we used to teach up to 7 courses, isn't it? Yeah. Munaangalia ni kama ni kasinema. we used to teach up to 7 courses, right? And still, the pay was that one. So we were actually making money for the university. So we were pushing for a paid leave. They said no. Until at one point, you are being paid 50,000. Now let me just disclose. You are being paid 50,000. Then they say, if you go for study leave, you are going to be paid 40% of that as your paid leave. What is that? This is what you are going to leave your family to live on, when you are out there and you are paying fees for yourself, if you are not on scholarship. So that is the one thing that I really wished the university management could have changed. I don't know whether they did. I'm saying I don't have information. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally,
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, well, that will be the last question. That will be the last question.
Good
Proceed.
evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Corazon Jane, and I have 2 questions. My first question is, if we could change the hands of time and you are a student, what would you do different? What would you advise us students to do that you'd like us to do at this particular moment? And my second question is, in your journey, what was your highest moments and what were your lowest moments? What are the things that made you weep? What are some of the things that made you want to cry, want to quit? Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Are you referring to my journey in Kabarak or
Yes,
generally?
yes, your journey in Kabarak.
Okay. So what would I have wished to do as a student? Day 1, I do my assignments perfectly well. Day 2, my assignments perfectly well. Up to the last day, if I was taken back to being a student, that is one thing that I really would wish I would have done, even when I was in my undergraduate. Because you see, as Prof and your other colleagues will tell you, those who have already graduated, this undergraduate degree lays the basis for all your other openings. It will always be a reference point. Internationally, they don't ask uliscore ngapi KCSE. Do they, by the way? Prof, do they? But they will ask for your undergraduate degree and for your master's and for your PhD. That's where they start from. So if you didn't lay a good foundation, it always gives a shaky starting point for you. So do your best, excel. Of course, don't use crooked ways. Kama uelewi, tafuta mwalimu, tafuta your colleagues who are sharp in that subject. Let them teach you. By the way, some of us teach better than our teachers. I will not say that. Okay? But the reality is that the way I can explain to you a point as a colleague may be better than the way a lecturer or a teacher explains. So seek that advice and also don't withhold information. Hii degree, sasa hata ukikuwa na first class 3, kuna also first class zingine. Why are you trying to hoard that knowledge? Let all of you score first class and we will be happy, isn't it? Yes, share that information. Don't compete to the extent that you have envy that your friend is succeeding. There's always room at the top. Now, what could have made me weep in Kabarak? Well, I'm trying to look for something. No, I enjoyed being in Kabarak. By the way, that's one thing that I would want to say. I don't want to say I had anything that would make me regret to have been associated with Kabarak. It was a good institution. They related with me so well. By the way, do you know, I think because we related so well, I was the only lecturer who was employed on a permanent basis, but who left Kabarak and was still invited back to keep teaching against the policy of the institution. Did you understand that? The policy was that once you umetoka Kabarak, umetoka hawana haja na wewe. But for me, after this day, so I don't regret. I don't seem to see anything. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And now there's just one last question there. And you've worked so hard. We have something good for you after this. So let's just hear the final question. Thank you. Good evening.
That was the gift.
No, there is another gift for you. There's another gift for you. So I will kindly request the Dean. I'll request Marion and Cedric. Mr. Malenya, Arnold, please just come. That's a very big team. That's a very big team. The music, Stanley, we want to, yes. Where's the photographer? Yes, over there. So we just want to say thank you, Judge. You have left a lasting impact. You dreamt about this school. You worked so hard to have it started. It started, you left, it continued to grow. And you're back, you can see where it is now. And even where you are, you're still touching lives, as we've been told. May God abundantly bless you. This is just a small token to appreciate you. May God richly bless you. So, sorry?
Is it over 20,000? Because I have to declare it.
Oh, he has to declare it. It is not. So please just spread like this. I would like to have, yeah. So if you could all just shake his hand. I don't know how. Just stretch. Stretch. Yes, we just want to say thank you so much. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Sawa sawa. No problem. Okay. Yes. Okay. Very short. Okay, great. So now, thank you so much. DJ, I had some very good music. Please, we need more of that. Now, we want to move to the next session, but as I'm assisted with bringing these chairs to the stage, maybe just remove this, yeah? Just remove this. So I'll kindly request our very own, one of the alumni, who's an author. I think you've been able to see some of her books outside. We just want to give her 1 minute to tell us something about herself. Fun fact, she was my first boss. She employed me when I finished, before graduating actually. I went to Nairobi, just come, Atieno Ogola. I went to Nairobi and she told me, Marion, come work with me. And we worked together, it was a good time. Then I had to go to KSL. So let's listen to what she has to say.
Good evening. Is it good evening or good afternoon? Good evening, everyone. Or rather, good evening, fellow alumni and judge and members of faculty. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, so I'm really grateful to be here, and thank you for the opportunity. First, I'd like to say Kabarak University has been very supportive in my journey. I remember when I started my YouTube channel, my first guest was my then Dean Ongoya, and I think that's when I met Professor Ambani when he was still Dean at Strathmore. Then also, Kabarak University was the first law school to stock 300 of my books at the library. Thank you so much. Then again, also, today morning when I just arrived and I was setting my books up, the founding dean, Professor Piolo Lumumba, tells me that, I think it was last week, there was a ADR moot court at USIU, and he quoted my book, and it was just so humbling that at least now I'm getting recognized for my work. So I've come with 3 books, and let me just... So the first one here is Beyond the Books. It helps law students pass by exams. I think you've also known me for helping law students for the past now 5 years to pass by exams. So the practical guide for those who are still at KSL and those who are here, you can start reading and it will help you. Then, and it goes for 2,000 shillings only, the divine price of 2,000 shillings only. Then there is the book on ADR. I was also humbled that the LSK president, Faith Odhiambo, wrote the foreword to this book. So for me, I say the future of dispute resolution in Africa is ADR, and I encourage you all to have a look at the book. Then the last one, of course, being a Kabarak law student, I had to do a devotional book for lawyers. So it's for both law students and lawyers, all go for 2,000 shillings. So I encourage you to purchase for yourself, for someone you love, and thank you for your support.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Atieno. I would like to now call, please just give me the program. I'd like to now call, we're now getting into the panel session. We want to really shorten this as much as possible. So we have the panel chairs, they already know. So as they'll be coordinating the conversations here, they know that we need to keep time. But also in the crowd, we actively think about any question that we want to ask. We will try and stick to 1, at most 2 questions, if any, okay? Yes, we want to try and finish as soon as possible. So please allow me to introduce this panel. This is the panel for the past students. We're going to have conversations on reflections and experiences. The session chair is Miss Lorraine Koske, who's seated over here. Makofi. We were meant to have Miss Gloria Kimani on this panel, but she left and she explained why. So we will have Miss Biwot Jebet. Please come forward. Is she still in? Yes, please. Yes, let's clap for her. She comes. We're also going to have Mr. Koira Peter. Mr. Peter Koira, yes. So we'll have those 2. I believe Mr. Wesonga has left. Mr. Obat Wesonga has left, so we'll only have the 3. Let's clap for them as they settle down. Sawa sawa.
So, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I do know that time is not on our side, really, but we are going to try and also indulge you as much as possible. And when I was thinking about the alumni session, the one thing I was thinking about is all the experiences we lived. And I was thinking about some of the phrases we remember. For example, who said these words? Young man, if I come through the Judicature Act, will I see your father as an authority in that Judicature Act? Who said that? In unison? Yes, Mr. Ongoya, there are some of those experiences that we lived. And so my name is Lorraine Chemutai Koske, class of 2023. And with me here are my dear panelists. They're going to introduce themselves, and then after that, we'll just do a quick run and be able to wrap up. Yes, you can go ahead.
Yes, good evening. My name is Janet Biwot, class of 2013, and I'm grateful to be here this evening.
Good evening. My name is Koira Peter, class of 2014 to 2018. I'm glad to be here.
Arnold Magina, class of 2013. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to first start off by saying that since that we were in different years, what are some of the things and your most memorable experiences that also ended up shaping you? And I know there are very many things. It can be things even like majukes. You know, you never know these things. If those are your memorable moments. So we'll go ahead and start with you.
I have two experiences. The first one, for those who came later, did you know anything about K Street? K Street. I'm sure they can't relate. That's the fun bit. You know this stretch, from Prof, you know this stretch after you've done this road, just in front of the university, of the high school, they stretch all the way to the student center. That was our K Street. Okay, that's the stretch we used to take ladies to walk for a stroll. It's just a stretch, we take them for a walk. No, not at night, during the day. Because of the ambience, then you take them to the field down there. It was an experience. This university was fun. You could not do anything with them. You could just walk with them, admire, hold their hands, and then fight some WhatsApp wars with people from the School of Business of our ladies. But then what I remember vividly is the experience that we all share in one way or another, that is Ongoya. Ongoya used to tell us that you are here. Kwanza, Judge, you remember the story when you went to the Senate, then you were told to ensure that we pass. Yes, and actually you had to be forced to ensure that we pass. So that time, Ongoya came to us, then he told us he has been forced to ensure that we pass. But then he told him, just do what the senators told you to do. Why are you being difficult? You see, the Senate is looking out for our interests. You should be among them to add into ensuring that our interests come first. But then, what stands out is our keynote speaker today. He taught me question on law 1. I think I can spell in you in that class, you remember? Our CAT 1. The question was that the Constitution of Kenya 2010 is autochthonous. Explain. First of all, we don't even know the spelling of autochthony, and we are supposed to answer a question and be awarded marks. So he marked the scripts, then handed over, because in Constitutional Law 2, we're being taught by Ongoya now. So Ongoya is the one who brought our scripts back. I think those in our class, we know the shenanigans that we did. Because how can you answer a question that you don't even know the spelling of what you're answering? And I remember, I think Obato Asonga was here. I think you've had a sight of him. Anatembea na PLO sana, rafiki yake. He was the only one who came close to answering. Lakini tulipata na yeye 3. Yeah, alipata 3. I think so. And then I think the one who got the highest was our colleague who is in Mombasa now, called Minad Hassan. Yeye alipata 5. That's 5 out of 20. Mimi nilipata 2, akina spelling nilipata ilikuwa 2 na mimi, si ndio 3. Pardon? No, out of 20. This spelling, it was out of 20. Yes, out of 20. And remember, because it was the first time that Ongoya was coming to teach us, we were seated in a hall like this. Then most of us used to sit at the back. So you used to call out your name. You walk from up there. He's looking at your scripts. You're wondering, what's going on in the mind of this guy? Then after he has handed over our scripts to all of us, I remember he asked, who believes that they don't deserve the marks that they have gotten? Then Obatu Asong had the courage to raise up his hand. Then he was just asked one question. What is the spelling of autochthony? You remember? Just the spelling, you are all off. So like, if you can't get the spelling right, how can you get the answer right? And then from there, then the following week, in the second class, he comes and then he tells us, I know you are all seated here, bragging in your villages that you are lawyers. Your parents at home are still bragging that they are lawyers coming up. But you are here getting this. I wish they knew the kind of marks you are getting. That if I were you, I'll be telling my parents not to stop bragging about having a lawyer in the family. But those are the 2 instances that I can speak off my head. Because after that, actually sitting in Ongoya's class changed our perspective. Because he came here without any direction, any idea. But then if anyone sits in Ongoya's class, and then Judge Nyagaka, at least you are the fun side of education, because Ongoya was the serious type. But at least we used to enjoy our classes. But at least those are the experiences we can get. But interacting with this, and then the good thing about our earlier classes, all our lecturers were practicing advocates. So it was easy for us to relate with what was happening in the field. Thank you.
And now next to the next panelist, the other question that was always famously asked me, how do you know that you know? Can you tell us briefly your memorable experience? And if you still know, how do you know that you know?
I think that question I'm yet to even answer it, whether how do I know that I know. But one of my memorable moments, there used to be a lecturer by the name Dr. Duncan Okubasu. I don't know, how many of you have been taught by him? Constitutional 101, you get into a class, you're a first year, and then he gives you an assignment or a cut, and then he tells you, no, I don't expect that you will give me any opinion that constitutionally, because of what knowledge do you have that you are now ripe to give me an opinion in constitutional matters? And so he used to say, at the end of every sentence, you must footnote. There has to be someone that has echoed what you're saying. And that really was, it really tutored us into doing more of research and also having some basis of what you're saying. Because he used to say the only difference between us and journalists, journalists can actually say anything without sources. But if I was go to Professor Umbani or Judge, then they will expect that what I'm saying, there's someone superior than me that has actually agreed to the proposition that I'm saying. And once you cultivate that, we really built a good moot court. We are the people who started the entirety of the moot court practice, and that really gave us the competence that we now have as we go out. So that was my memorable moment.
To me, my question will be different to you, though in the same line. What's the one thing that you wish you did differently while you were in school?
I don't know. For me, I can't say that I would do anything differently because I really enjoyed my stay here in Kabarak. And to top it all up, I actually got a husband from this university. Yeah. Sorry? Yes, so I really enjoyed my. Sorry? No, he's not here. He didn't do law. He was in education. Yes.
Hawa ndo walitunyang'anya wa education.
So I can't say that I would do anything different because what I got from this university was very special. Because I remember at the time we were finishing and we were looking for attachment and even jobs, people out there and law firms were ready to take us because they were just asking, which university were you from? When you say Kabarak, they take you in very fast. So I would really say that I enjoyed and I learned a lot even from Judge Nyagaka. He taught me criminal law. And weirdly, we are in somewhere there in the judiciary, and I get to even research for judges like Justice Nyagaka and other judges. So I'm really grateful. I learned a lot, and I can say this university made us professional and also have that integrity that we carry along even as we are out there in the legal world. So I can say I really enjoyed my time. I think even there was a place called Nando's. We used to order those chapati, Rolex, yes, those ones. Also the chapel sessions, we usually went for the services on Wednesday. And I can say that aside from the legal professional aspect, there is the spiritual and the moral aspect that we got to get from Kabarak, which I think for me to date, I try as much as possible to carry it with me, even in my workplace. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I think for the last round, since I know that everything is haywire currently, but I think lastly, Arnold, for you, what was the school culture that was there back then that you wish to be there for generations to come? There's just that one thing that you would wish, that a culture that would be preserved through Kabarak Law School.
I think for me it'll be two. First one is the chapel and then kanisa. So let's just maintain that culture. Is it still on Wednesdays? Yes, just maintain that culture. And then the other one, I believe this institution, although not with the numbers, you remember how we used to enjoy our meals?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Actually, some of us added weight. Judge, it's just that you are not feeding with us. We used to feed seriously. We added weight because of counter one. I think in a spelling, you can remember counter one. Yes, that grilled chicken. Food was the epitome. We used to live for the food. You used to go to class. You enjoy that class knowing that at 1, there's a serious meal waiting for me. Then at 4, we had the happy hour. Vina, the happy hour, you remember the happy hour? Do you have the happy hour nowadays?
Sadly, no.
The tea?
What's that?
Oh.
You know, happy hour might be different.
No, wachana si our levy. Happy hour, we used to have tea. And then I'll see for us, we just used to, once you swipe, you have as much tea as you want. The only thing that we used to buy was the scones. Yes. And see, those are the things that used to bring us together. And actually, during our time, the university was so small that if I decided to take Vina for a rendezvous in town, by the time I arrive here, everyone knows that I've taken Vina out. The entire school. So, there's a way in which you are so together and collegiate that's why for her, for Janet, mtu wa education alimchukua tu because that's how we were relating. It was one big family. And I believe there was no rivalry. We used to enjoy the company of each other. So if there's anything that I would wish that it be sustained, is that family network that we had across all schools. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, so I hope I don't know if you'll be able to hear me well. You have talked passionately about moods, and how did that shape your career eventually when you went out there? So I don't know if we are going to wait for the rain to subside
maybe just to speak something about the.
So now, because it's raining heavily, and I don't know whether we can communicate well, maybe we take a break, like 10 minutes. You can hear? Questions? You can hear properly, you can hear well. So we continue. We add the volume, so they speak louder. So they speak louder, we will listen to them. And then we will ask questions. Okay, sawa sawa.
Okay, so I think I had asked earlier, especially for the benefit of the current students, you really talked about mooting, and how did your experiences in Kabarak shape your current career path?
So I was a mooter, but before that, allow me to address the issue of, he's spoken about counter one. And immediately when I also served as a student leader here in Kabarak, I was once the director of academics and library. And among the key reforms that actually we brought was to abolish counter one, on the premises that we found that to be very discriminative. You come to school and this was the only school I came, nikaona wananiuzia rice beans 90 bob. And that is just a single meal for one session. And that used to be the third of the counter. So assuming umekuja na mrembo, leo umekula rice beans, the following day anakuona still uko counter 3, yani wako tu hapo ndengura beans, and na kuna watu wanakula huku counter 1 kuku. So we talked to the VC, and the same was actually abolished, probably just to arrive at some kind of uniformity when you're serving at the counter. So pole sana. Be that as it may, I think we started the mooting culture. There's the likes of Frank Chelugate and Joey, and it was no one is born a mooter, so you practice endlessly. You practice before the likes of Ongoya, with Mr. Kadima. We fought so many times. In fact, when he called me to that informed me that I would be one of the speakers, I said, okay, I'll come and speak about it. Because I believed that Kabarak actually could produce mooters in perpetuity. Even after we've left school, actually Kabarak could still win moot courts. And that idea in terms of the selection process, if you can go to the dean, there are so many emails that were written to protest. Probably in a week we used to have 2 cases at the dean because of how the moot court, probably teams were selected, the criteria that was used. It was an attempt for us to avoid gatekeeping in a manner that we have the same people who win moot court are still the same people who went. And we used to call it a cabal or a cartel of students. Moot court, unasikia kuna moot court mahali, and then when they come, wanasema one of the criteria for you to apply eligibility is you must have a passport. You see how like that criteria alone knocks off so many students that were actually very eligible. And they could create a case scenario where someone will qualify, akakosa moot, and that became now the culture. But we fought, and I think there were some guidelines that were issued, and eventually also the team together with Mr. Kadima, we won the All Kenyan Moot Court together. So that said, I'm also happy, and also it vindicates in terms of the reforms that you're trying to fight, because I've heard the people who went to Germany, won Moot Court, the all African. Actually, I can say a number of teams actually were sent, whom we considered the best, but none ever, even when the time I left at 2018, none had actually become, I think, top 10. So I'm really very happy that you guys made it, and please continue and also teach more. So in regards to that, we were, in terms of research, we really were good research. In fact, when I went to KSL, I was equally number 2 in terms of memorial writing. Then COVID happened, so safari yetu ya majuu pia ikakatika. But and again, I formed it does two things. One, you form very good friendships, because I was able to get pupillage. It was easy to get pupillage, and also, I mean, people know you out there, ukitoka, and also even how you litigate. Even a judge or any judicial officer is in a position to state that this person is informed. If you look at the submissions that have been filed, you can tell this is someone who actually was very well coached from the institutions that they came in. So that was really very beneficial. And finally, I used to appear before a gentleman. I think he worked at Triple OK, and he told me, Koira, the law is already there. The same access you have to the law is the same access your father has to the law, is the same access that local businessman has to the law. But what actually makes you a great advocate is if you can be given a set of facts, and you can argue from a particular set of facts and win a case. And if you've seen the current trend when you appear before court, for instance, you appear before Justice Muita, and that is a fresh matter that you filed, you should be, in less than 5 minutes, tell him that, my lordship, I filed this petition. This petition probably is in the alleged violation of rights of my client, alifanya A, B, C. If you can make your case in less than 5 minutes on facts alone, then actually I can assure you that there is judge can see your sense and where you're coming from, and also judgments zitakuja in your favor. You will fight. I've had the position to battle it out with very legal giants in this country, and I think I've been vindicated in so many of them. So Moot Court has already helped me.
Okay, thank you very much. I remember one of moving on, I think, to also other things. I remember one of my most memorable things that I did here was, at one time I was at the presidential awards, Nankajichocha, twende hike, because we were just paying 1,000 bob and going to Taita Taveta. And I ended up climbing those hills and couldn't walk for a week. What do you think? What were the fun things that you still remember from back in the day?
I don't know if I can say this, but back during our times, as Arnold has said, we were very few. And when it gets to Friday and you are here in the school, it's like you are alone here. So we used to actually go out, have fun, come back. So that was one of the things that we enjoyed. And I must say, in as much as there is the life after, campus, they say when you come to campus, you need to have fun, but you have fun responsibly. So I think that time we used to make sure you just go out, have fun, then come back. Then another thing is we used to have swimming. And I think one of our colleagues who has left, Laura, she used to also participate in the swimming team. And I think the university actually created a forum where we could actually explore our talents. For me, I actually learned swimming here in Kabarak because of my friend. She's called Snyder. She did business, BMIT. Yeah, so those are the fun stuff we used to do. And just to add one thing that I would say is, and I know Prof is not here. You know, we had the advantage of him being our dean, and we went with him to Kenya School of Law, and he was also an administrator there. And we all know how KSL is, and with the units and all that. I remember us having the privilege of having Prof as one of the administrators there. When we got our results, we had the opportunity to go through our scripts. He was the only one who allowed us to go through our scripts. And I remember very well, that time there was a unit called, I think, legal writing and drafting. At that time, we left our places where I think we were doing pupillage or whatnot. We went to Kenya School of Law, and since Prof was there, we got to see our scripts. And for me personally, I saw my script. And I realized there were 2 questions that were never marked by the lecturers there at Kenya School of Law. And what I can say is that made me make the decision of whether to apply for a remark or a receipt. So I think Prof actually helped us when we went with him to Kenya School of Law. I remember that was one thing I remember to date, because when I applied for a remark, I actually passed that unit and I was able to go for that gazettement and admission. So I think Prof actually helped us, and this university, it really helped. For me, personally, I can say it has helped me even in my career path and all that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I've seen eye darts from Cedric Kadima, as if, you know, those darts he gives you to confirm whether you're not cheating. Those are the eyes. And so thank you very much. Thank you for engaging us. I think I'll hand over to Marion Joy, and thank you for being amazing panelists.
Thank you so much. Please appreciate our panel. Yeah, on to the last panel of the day. Nelly and your team. Team, we will take a maximum of 10 minutes. Bernard, Ashin.